Guard and the environment are not two ends of the spectrum.
The Guard is way ahead in a lot of what we do.
This is just the start of more things to come.
If we can contribute to betterment of our whole culture and nation, then the average person can too.
Camp Ripley is made up of 53,000 acres. It's about 19 miles long by 5 to 7 miles wide. It started in 1931 and it was bought up in pieces and really converted to a National Guard training site. We're not buying up additional land to train on. We really got to take care of what we have.
The great thing about the National Guard camp there, and particularly the way that they are concerned about wildlife and the environment there, is that it does provide this wonderful sanctuary.
These pieces of land that are set aside for military bases are also basically wildlife refuges.
When we began doing some inventories and cataloging what was here, that was when everyone became aware of the uniqueness from a biological standpoint of Camp Ripley. And it was at that point that we were finding many sensitive species were residing here, species that weren't even thought to exist any longer in this area.
Camp Ripley decided that they wanted to do more environmental work. And the way they started with that was by contracting with the Department of Natural Resources, which was beginning a new project called the County Biological Survey. And then as they got in here, they found all sorts of really wonderful things.
When Camp Ripley was first purchased and created, they purposely put it in an area that was very remote, likely never to be developed.
About in 1995, we noticed timber wolves on camp. We started seeing tracks. Soldiers were seeing sightings of larger canines, which we thought were wolves. That's when we went ahead and started a trapping program so we could actually trap the animals, collar them, ear tag, and actually study them over the next 15 years.
Technology has changed significantly in the way we track wolves, and that's really something that was pioneered right on Camp Ripley.
We put a collar on the wolf that transmits his locations to us, about 2 locations a day, about every 4 days.
This is a receiver that receives the signals that are being emitted from the collars. Collar's got a transmitter on it, it's got an antenna on the collar, and it sends out a beeping signal. And the receiver picks it up just like your receiver in receiving signals in a car radio or any other radio for that matter.
We get up in an airplane, we can hear 15 or 20 miles to each side of the airplane, so we can just fly across Camp Ripley, pick up the signal, and go figure out where they've been.
Whether it be wolves or it could be bears or anything else on places like military bases have a great value.
There's 4 of them there. There's a couple in the woods and one further out along the shoreline. How about that for talking?
In the late 60s, when the wolf went on the endangered species list, there were only wolves in northeastern Minnesota and then on nearby Isle Royal.
Since the protection was put on, they've basically been expanding their range.
If you see an animal, there's a little excitement there, seeing the animal. This is the first time we've seen this pack this year, so it was good, it was fun.
We were learning that the wolves in the Camp Ripley area are, first of all, their population remains there. There have been wolves there for several years now, and they provide dispersing wolves that go to other areas that help recolonize some of those other areas.
So some of the first wolves we ear-tagged and collared actually became the colonizers for the state of Wisconsin, and same with northern Michigan. One of their first wolves they collared in Michigan was a female that I caught as a pup, and 5 years later it shows up in northern Michigan raising pups.
The Minnesota Guard and the environment are not two ends of the spectrum. We are very concerned about the environment. We can show that we're not making the environment worse, that we're making it better. But a lot of our area is used for buffer areas, for shooting large caliber weapons, tanks, Bradleys, and so that really doesn't get disturbed very much.
The primary mission of Camp Ripley is really to train soldiers. Even though we have a rich diversity of plant and animal life, and we do have some consumptive uses of the land like timber and those type of things, the real use is for military training.
At all possible costs, we will adjust missions and put in programs to meet needs without impacting negatively the wildlife.
What makes it work is the continued collaboration between military trainers and biologists, and having people work together, communicating, sharing concerns if there are problems, and working it out. So it's collaboration and then cooperation.
We live in the community, all the people that work here, so we're part of that community. Also, we really work hard to work with the community, bring them in, show them what we do, not only what we have here, but what we do, why we do it in our training, how we are taking care of the environment.
We have a moral obligation to protect and provide opportunity for these species to exist, and that's what the National Guard and other entities, governments, really should do.
If you do a one-for-one comparison on soil conservation, water conservation, animal programs that we have, I think you'll find that we kind of set the standard, set the example.
Where we used to have scars on the landscape from training activities or whatever, we're now at a point where we've caught up with all that, and I think it's now we're in a more of a maintenance mode.
We want it to be a place where soldiers can train here really forever, and keeping the environment, keeping the the woods, the foliage, the animals, everything here is in our best interest. So we've been working on that for a long, long time, and we think we do a pretty good job of making that happen.
I've worked at the Camp Ripley Post this is my 5th summer, and I've always wondered what they actually do to stay green.
It's very interesting seeing everybody on different experience levels, and we're all coming together.
We're on our way up to Grand Forks. We just stopped to take some scenic pictures.
My passion lies in telling people's stories.
I was kneeling on the ground for 45 minutes, but we got some great footage, so I'm excited.
Yes, I'm having a ton of fun.
We're the future of what the film industry is going to be.